Colleagues, planning and choreography is nowadays part of conference, but the planners let me down today because, first of all, we had Jim Power with a tremendous and articulate presentation, and then we had Susie with a wonderful human and personable and insight into her life as a mother and her work, I suppose, as an advocate on behalf of not just her own children, but on behalf of the people who live in the CMH. And it is most challenging to follow on from those wonderful speakers, but we'll do our best. I am pleased, colleagues, to bring you this, my 17th report, to this, our 37th annual Delegate Conference. When I first joined the PNA in 1971, I and my colleagues were taunted that we were joining a minority outfit, that our head office was in someone's back garden shed, and that strike action would break us. Well, we came through the strikes of the early days successfully, even if in those years we couldn't pay strike pay. We have grown from the minority to the majority union in psychiatry, while our influence in other services, including the ID services, continues to grow. And this year we moved into our new state-of-the-art facilities in Sallins. On the one hand, I, as one of your employees, and on behalf of my colleagues, want to thank you for the wonderful facilities now placed at our disposal. However, most of all, I want to congratulate this organisation, in which we take huge pride, in reaching this important milestone in our development. We have identified the first week in September as a week of celebration of our new facilities. On Monday, September the 1st, we will host a professional conference in Dublin Castle with the backing of the Department of Children and the HSE. Now, the next two are proposed by me, so they haven't been formalised yet, but there's Tuesday the 2nd, an education forum, and Wednesday the 3rd, or sometime shortly thereafter, the official opening of the new facilities in Sallins, to which you will be invited. An essential aspect of the development of any organisation is the stability of its membership. The history of the PNA since 1990 has been one of continuous growth up to 2006, when a combination of no students qualifying and retirements combined with a slowdown in employment resulted in stagnation. But during the first half of 2007, we experienced a significant increase in membership in most branches. However, the last few months have been very challenging, as first the embargo in September 2007 and then the employment control framework in January 2008 have limited the employment of nurses. Nevertheless, the PNA continues to remain strong, committed and focused. In the appendices to this report, and if it's not there, it will be there shortly, I have included details of membership applicants since January 2007, and our total membership at the 31st December was 6381. At this point, I should pause just momentarily and say to you that as the organisation matures, and we mature and grow older, at least some of us, we come face to face with our own morbidity and our own mortality. And in the last year, we have suffered the loss of a number of important people to the association. Paddy Gann was our first National Secretary, a wonderful man who I remember describing community care at a meeting with Derek Hunter in the old LGS&B office in the 70s, when Derek Hunter had lectured us about community care, and it was going to be wonderful. And he says, "Mr. Hunter," he says, "is that the thing, community care? Is that where I discharge the patients on a Friday, and then on Monday I hand them out cups of soup through the back window of the ward?" And you know, what he was saying there is so important, that even in the 1970s, there was a reality that community care was an ideal, more about saving money than actually resourcing and funding and properly developing a real comprehensive service for patients. And that was Paddy Gann. Mickey Mulligan, who was another founder member, the first branch secretary in St. E's Portran, and a wonderful character. But those two guys, when they died, it was an opportunity to celebrate long lives because they lived, well into the mature old age and had very good lives. When we lost our two other colleagues, David Ward, who spent many years on the officer board, and his favourite line was "Hold tough." When pressure comes on, hold tough, lad. I think it's a Limerick thing, hold tough, or Munster on next Sunday. And then Seamus High. Seamus High was just absolutely tragic because he had worked so hard as part of this association over many years, as part of the CMH or the CMHNA as well. He had contributed hugely at Bordal Tronish. He had so many areas of contribution in his life to many organisations, and he had such wonderful plans for the future for him and Bridie to travel again and again to Argentina. We used to tease him that he had a farm on the Pampas, but it never happened. And in losing those people, it was a tremendous shock to the system. And recently, Frank O'Rourke became extremely sick. Frank O'Rourke was our branch secretary in Killarney for many, many years. And he suffered pancreatitis and then pneumonia. And then he was on a ventilator for a couple of weeks. He was in a coma. He's just pulled out of the coma now. He's starting to recover. He's lost about 4 stone weight, so he's not recognisable. He now has MRSA, and he's really battling a tough time. So we have a Get Well card that will be circulated tomorrow that you'll all have a chance to sign and send good wishes to Frank in his recovery. But it's important at times like this, when the association comes together, to remember all those people who make such a contribution to the association. The nursing dispute of 2007 is seen by many nurses as a most frustrating experience. That analysis is not unreasonable. Its ending was undoubtedly disappointing. However, as someone who seeks to see the jar as half full rather than half empty, I want to point out the following. Nurses will have a 37.5-hour week from the 1st of June. A 35-hour week is in gestation. Consciousness raising regarding nursing grievances was well served by the dispute, and virtually all media commentators now recognise the failure of benchmarking to do anything for most nurses and the resulting festering sore still remaining. Management's attack on the work to rule has now put it up to the profession that any future action has to be real, has to be unrestrained, and must be uncompromising. At a time of going to press in this report, our colleagues in the INO are consulting their members with the future direction for the pay campaign. The arguments have all been laid out and rehearsed to the point of exhaustion. Nurses are equally qualified as therapy grades. Our work is no less important, but our remuneration falls sadly short. Our claim is for parity with the therapeutic grades, and it is now to be considered by the Labour Court, who had previously told us the claim could only be addressed in benchmarking, who in turn found the claim outside its terms of reference. And the Court will host ad hoc discussions on our claims on the 22nd of May 2008. Obviously, there are two potential outcomes from the Labour Court deliberations. In the event of another rejection from the Court, the options are stark: put up or shut up. I extend our best wishes to our colleagues in the INO in their deliberations. They know our position. If it comes to a fight, we will not be found wanting. But the commitment of all involved must be complete. Our resolve and ambiguous